Hello everyone, this is Max Schroeder Productions, here with another movie review on a movie I recently saw in theaters last Thursday, and that is Detective Pikachu. Now, Detective Pikachu was released just a couple weeks ago on May 10th, 2019. It is directed by Rob Letterman, and as of May 19th, its domestic gross is $94,001,846. And the foreign gross is $112,400,000, and worldwide that makes a grand total of $206,401,846, and it's still playing in theaters too. Now, before I go on, there will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen Detective Pikachu, I would highly not recommend to watch this video, but if you have, I would encourage you to watch this video and listen to many of the interesting facts and comments I made about Detective Pikachu. Now, this movie is a video game adaptation of the Nintendo 3DS game Detective Pikachu, which was released a few years ago, I want to say. I don't play 3DS, so I can't really say. And it was number 2 of it on its opening weekend on May 10th. And this film stars Ryan Reynolds as the voice of Pikachu, who we all know from Deadpool. Great movie. Justice Smith, who is recently in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as the nerdish kid. And, sorry, the music's a little loud. And then it also stars Suki Waterhouse, who's done some smaller films, and Ken Watanabe, who has done roles in the recent Godzilla movie. He's also going to be in the one that's going to be released in a couple weeks, which I will try and do an interview on the recent Godzilla movie. And he's also been in Last Samurai. Now, this film is obviously a video game adaptation, live action CGI of a video game called Pokemon Pikachu Detective. Or Detective Pikachu, excuse me. And it takes place around this time in an alternate Pokemon world, where at the beginning we get what seems similar to the opening of Pokemon the first movie, the animated film, where we first encounter Mewtwo, who is Pokemon number 150 or 151, and as it starts we see Mewtwo in a circular, science lab as in the first movie, and then that famous line that you could barely hear, but I caught it right away. It's, as the car is driving off, Mewtwo awakes and says, "Those voices, they're outside, where I must be." And he gets out of the science lab and attacks the car that is driving off. But we don't know exactly why the purpose of that was, but I'll explain later into the plot and story. So then after that, we go to a couple years later where we meet this kid who's played by Justin Smith, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, and he goes to find his father. He's first summoned to this city, where there's a whole bunch of Pokemon roaming free, and as he's trying to find his father, Ken Watanabe, who's the professor, or not Professor Oak, but like a very serious lawyer, says, "Well, your father's dead. There was a brutal accident and your father was dead." So Justin Smith's character believes that his father is still alive and still thinks he's out there. And he goes into his hotel room where it used to be his childhood bedroom and living place, where he has memories of him and his dad and his mother too living at that place, until his father focused more on Pokemon more than his own son, which is kind of sad. More on his work. So then, as he's in there, he finds this weird purplish, cloudy, purple, about this big, like a capsule, purplish thing that makes Pokemon go crazy. Like it's like a high, sort of, or whatever, like a drug to Pokemon. And as that happens, he meets a Pikachu. Not like a normal Pikachu. This Pikachu is talking. So he starts forming this bond with this Pikachu, and feels kind of weird. Only he can talk with the Pikachu. The Pikachu can hear him, but no other human can hear the Pikachu other than himself. So as this goes on, they start wondering about, because the Pikachu belonged to his father, Justin Smith's character's father. So then they try to figure out what happened to my father or whatever. And then as they continue on this story, they go and travel and find the lab where his dad worked at, which is abandoned, and they figure out, okay, they were discovering Mewtwo. They were trying to study Mewtwo from the fossil remains of the original Mew. So then as this happens, they notice that they don't notice that there's a group of spies watching them, and they release these Pokemon called Greninjas. Now, I don't know exactly what Greninjas really were, because I stopped watching Pokemon up till Diamond and Pearl, and then I just completely zoned out. I completely stopped watching Pokemon after the movie with Lucario that I'm drawing a blank on. And I never really knew the Greninjas, so I never really knew those Pokemon. But as Pikachu has memories of what happened in the lab, he remembers that Justin Smith's character's father goes out and leaves while the Greninjas attack him because he was trying to give away the secrets of what was going on in the lab. So the Greninjas were sent to attack his car, destroy him, and frame Mewtwo, thinking that Mewtwo destroyed the car and started the chaos. Well, it did not happen. So then, as the characters figure out the plans of what the humans are doing, they want the Pokemon to be relate to humans. So that means humans will be in the Pokemons, and there will be no longer humans. So then what happens is, once the evil CMN, which I believe is the name of the group that tries to capture Mewtwo, tries to control him and has human mind, human power, so a human controls Mewtwo. And as this happens, there's a big battle ensues between Pikachu and Mewtwo. And then also Justin Smith's character against a Pokemon Ditto. And yeah, a lot of stuff happens, but they manage to save the entire world, and Justin Smith's character builds on a relationship and comes back and builds a relationship with his father, which then turns him into, everyone goes back to normal. The Pikachu is a normal Pikachu. Pika Pika. That's my attempt. But some interesting stuff that happens that I noticed, and some interesting trivia I quote from IMDb, is that this film could possibly be a canon to the original animated film Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, because they do mention that where they got Mewtwo was from the Kanto region. But the first movie was released about 20 years ago. Even before, it was around when I was just a little infant. I didn't know enough about Pokemon other than Super Smash Brothers. And so then, this movie could possibly be a canon to the first movie, the animated movie. So there could be some links and tie-ins between these movies. And interesting facts is this is the first Pokemon movie to receive a PG rating, probably because of the violence a little bit. My guess is that this is the 7th Warner Brothers live-action CGI film made, behind Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo 2. I want to say there's other video game adaptations that they made as well. This movie was filmed in England and Scotland. The Pokemon were based on a artwork by a R.J. Palmer, who did realistic Pokemon artwork instead of the cartoonish anime that we all grew up and knew about. There's a lot of references to a lot of the Pokemon video games, even the older stuff. And what was intriguing is, I didn't know this, but when Detective Pikachu and a Charizard are in a battle in an arena, like a street side battle, there's a line, and also on the billboard too, there's a line that says "taken down with one hit." And I didn't notice until I looked at it, but it's a reference to the Pokemon Stadium video game for the original N64, which I do own a copy and play once in a while. So that I find interesting that they reference the original Pokemon Stadium video game in this film to a modern video game. Originally there were going to be 800 Pokemon, but I would guess, I didn't look into it, and I tried looking into it, but due to probably the production costs and how much CGI would go into this film and everything, they only went down to 60 Pokemon, which majority of them are the original Pokemon from the Indigo League, which is really, really interesting because I think the only Pokemon that are really from the modern and so-called modern Pokemon series would probably be the Greninjas and the big tortoise Pokemon, which I forgot the name of them. That's how much I know about past the Indigo League. But there's many Pokemon, like there's Bulbasaurs, there's Squirtles, there's Growlithe, I think there's an Arcanine, there's a Charizard, which is an awesome battle. There's a Gengar, there's a Blastoise, there's a Psyduck, a Jigglypuff, an Eevee, which then evolves into a Flareon, and a Ditto. So there's many, many Pokemon from the original Indigo League first season, if you want to be that critical. This movie got the green light, I think, because also it was influenced by the Pokemon Go app, which I believe people are still using today. I'm not quite sure, I never used it, but I know it was very popular about a year or 2 years ago, maybe. And it probably still is. I mean, I could be wrong. People are probably still hunting for Pokemon using this Pokemon Go app. I mean, I don't know. I've never used it. This film got a 64% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not... It's okay, but not the greatest. And also, too, what I found interesting is that Nintendo is looking at probably doing video game adaptation movies, and which is interesting because in the 90s they tried doing that with a Mario Brothers movie, which was a big box office flop. I've seen it and it's not that great. It's horrible. It was just not a great film, especially to knock off Nintendo characters like Mario. But Nintendo was trying to think of coming back again and seeing if they can do better and maybe bring up more Nintendos. Like there could be a Metroid movie, there could be a F-Zero movie, there could be a Legend of Zelda movie, that would be interesting. And there could be a Donkey Kong movie for all we know. But that just all seems so interesting that Nintendo is thinking of doing this. And my opinion on this film, I would say it's a great movie to go. Like, I went with my friends back at school, and we just slept on Thursday night during finals week. Just didn't have much to do. And we're like, hey, let's go see Pokemon Detective Pikachu. And I'm like, okay, I'll go see that. Why not? And just interesting fact about that is that the film was okay for like entertainment, but I wouldn't say it would be like a jump out of your seat and go see a movie unless you're a really in-depth Pokemon fan and you're big into like the series, the video games, and so forth. Then yeah, if that's you, then by all means go see it. But I wouldn't say it would be the best movie out there, even though it was number 2 for the weekend. I think it's still making okay money, but really it was just more entertainment to me. But that's just my opinion. So I would say watch it just for entertainment and with a group of friends. Like, it was great to see. And I don't know, it's just I really never got into Pokemon as much as some people did. I mean, I knew of it. I knew of the Indigo League. I love watching the original movies, but I just never was a big fan of Pokemon as some people are. So, and plus I only got introduced to Pokemon, it was through Super Smash Brothers. I know that's but that's how I got revealed. And plus my older brother was big into Pokemon, trading cards and collecting them and so forth. But yeah, that's about really how I got into Pokemon. And I never really collected cards. I have most of the video games. I have Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium, but I don't really I never really got into the movie as a lot of people did. So I would say just watch it when you can. I mean, it's something just if you want to. Also, if you have younger kids as well, or younger audience, I would say by all means it'd be nice for like a younger audience too. So so that is my review on Detective Pikachu. Please join me again on my next movie review. If you have any suggestions, please tell me. Comment and tell me what you think about Detective Pikachu. Also comment on my channel about what movies you would like me to review in the near future. And also like my page, like my video, subscribe. And this is Max Schroeder Productions.